Welcome, everybody. I was excited today to talk about joy. And in kind of thinking about joy, reading about joy, it was surprising to me how little was written about joy. And I realized because there's so many aspects of joy. I mean, when we think of joy, it's usually not jumping up and down like woohoo. There's peace, there's elation, there's kind of a contentment. There's all different aspects. But I think we're looking more at the long-lasting kind of quiet contentment that really is, to me, gives you the most bang for your buck and is at the core of who we are. So I think I'm going to get started right in with a meditation. If y'all want to get comfortable where your back is supported, turn your cell phones off if you like. And give yourself this time to arrive. A lot of times we don't pay much attention to transitions, but transitions are very important. And so letting yourself feel supported by your bed, the couch, the chair, and beginning to bring your attention inward. You can close your eyes, you can have a soft focus where your eyes are partially closed, partially open. And begin to notice the weight of your bones, the force of gravity drawing you down. Inviting your body to melt, to let go of any self-support and to be supported. Feeling your scalp hang on your skull. Feeling your skull be breathed like plates of the earth moving. The hinge of your jaw releasing. Your face softening. And your brain shifting to the back of your head. And taking this time to check in with your body. How is your body doing at this moment? Checking in with your nervous system. How is your nervous system? Is it smooth? Is it a little spiky? Just giving it some of your loving attention. And noticing your breath. Feeling your breath moving through your body. Your belly rising and falling. And consciously expanding your rib cage sideways. So the breath fills up your whole back, your whole rib cage. Your shoulder blades glide down your back. Your neck elongates and unwinds. And you feel a wave of relaxation washing down your torso, breathing right through your organs as if they were transparent like clouds. And another wave of relaxation washing down from the base of your skull all the way down to your tailbone. Your spine relaxing, all the muscles softening and melting. All the way down to your belly, soft Buddha belly, to your pelvic floor, and roots extending down from your pelvic floor, down your legs, through the soles of your feet, releasing any tension into the ground, letting the ground recycle that energy. And feel the ground of being supporting you, meeting you. Feel its pushback. And giving yourself this time, in particular, to rest. Feel your body rest. Feel your mind rest. Nothing to do. Just be. And taking a moment to see if you can locate a part of you that's like a pilot light of okayness. This kind of neutral, fundamental, awake awareness that's present no matter what. It's not thinking, it's not doing, it's just aware. Might be easier to find it someplace in your body. Or maybe it's within a breath, in the pause between the inhale and the exhale. Or maybe it's like a secret chamber in your mind, a back room. Whatever it is, you know it. And if you can't locate it at this moment, imagine you could. Your body knows it. Your mind knows it. Because it's that go-to place that we all go to when we need to. When our logical mind doesn't serve us, when we have to find an inner strength and inner knowing. And the good news is it's always there. And let yourself notice its awakeness. And if you feel slightly sleepy, just let that awareness be aware of the sleepiness. No judgment. If you would prefer to be a little more awake, you can lift your eyes slightly if you like. And you get to decide, you take care of you, what works best for you. And perhaps a distraction arises. And instead of trying to shift your mind away from the distraction, just let yourself be aware of the distraction. Let your body move as it breathes. Feel your fluidity. And let's say you have a nagging itch. Instead of ignoring it, let yourself scratch that itch. And notice how good it feels to scratch that itch. And how good it feels afterwards to have it scratched and released. Just letting yourself be with whatever comes up. And recognizing that when we do that, rather than yank our mind away from something or judge it, that we're cultivating a mindfulness and a compassion. We're shaping our brain and our mind to be our ally. And we're creating this internal world that's more focused, more resilient and resourceful, that builds circuits of kindness and well-being. Moment by moment, one person, one relationship at a time, beginning with ourselves. Letting yourself rest a little deeper in your mind in this fundamental awareness. Notice how that feels to do so. Maybe it's a little uncomfortable, like I should be doing something. Is this right? And just let yourself let go and rest a little more deeply. Resting with exactly with what is. And knowing that our fundamental nature is pure, peaceful, radiant, compassionate, loving, and wise. And it's joined in some mysterious ways with the ultimate underpinning of reality, by whatever name you give it: spirit, Buddha mind, knowing. When we can rest, our true nature reveals itself. Our mind is not obscured by its continual moving. So giving yourself permission to deeply rest. Notice what arises in the mind, but without leaving this restful place, without judging. Recognizing that simply resting in this way is the experience of the natural mind. And it may seem very simple. Can it really be this simple? Yes. When we can sit back and relax, we can begin to recognize that all of these different thoughts coming and going are within the context of an unlimited mind, which, like space, remains fundamentally unperturbed. by whatever comes up. All you have to do is rest. Meeting whatever arises with your naked mind. Open and empty. And the more you do this, resting, letting your mind not do anything, just be aware that you're making new neuronal pathways, which as they grow stronger and more deeply connected, enhance your ability to tolerate the cascade of thoughts and feelings and sensations that are rushing through your mind at any given time. This is the practice. And eventually, you will realize that you're always sheltered, always safe, and always home. And knowing that, you can rest even deeper. And from this underlayment, this layer of peace, feel the corners of your mouth begin to turn up in a slight smile. And notice how that impacts your body-mind. How that very small action affects your physiology. And when you're ready, you can begin to stretch and wiggle a little. And gradually bring yourself back. So there's that saying, even the most simple things in life are the best. It's pretty true. And it's amazing how us humans complicate things. And really, the only difference between meditation, which is the fundament of what we did, and our daily kind of mind, which is all over the place, is the application of bringing your awareness to allow your mind to rest as it is. That's it. And I think of my own life and when I'm the most centered and when I'm the most spun out. And as my husband will surely attest to, I get most spun out when I have a very large stacking things to do. And I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I get in an overwhelm. And just by bringing it down to the simple fundament of resting and letting go of all that, I can bring myself back pretty quick. But in the meantime, it can kind of jack up my nervous system, screw up my digestion, perhaps make my muscles tight. And then I go back to the simplicity of really awareness is kind of who we are. It's the bottom line. It's the first thing we do when we come in, right? Babies don't come in, with just out of it. They're open. Their eyes are open. Their senses are open. They may not have words or concepts, but we are aware beings. And our first act is to breathe. And when we bring everything back to that, it's like, wow, I did all that complicating, and then I'm coming back. So anyway, what we're going to do today is look at 2 levels of joy. And one is this training yourself to recognize and practice letting your mind rest. And that contentment and that peace that gets built up like a strong muscle every time you do it. And it becomes your go-to. And I'm sure all of you have experiences when you've had to go there. Like if, say, you're in tremendous pain or fear or whatever it is, we go there automatically. Then the other kind of joy is like, well, we have this underlayment, but what about jacking it up a bit? What about a little bit ecstatic dance? What about, really good food? What about a little bliss out? Whatever it may be, whether it's connecting with another person, where it's being in nature, where you have that sense of awe. And these are all what I call cousins of joy. And so I thought today that we would share how we bring in the cousins of joy, how we work with our minds when we're under stress, when we're threatened, or when we're just having fun. Because it's good medicine. It's very good medicine. I mean, we feel better. All those neurochemicals come through the brain and they just soothe us. And I was going to start with being a little bit about awe, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys to see what you do. So a new area of science is studying awe. And the feeling of awe is considered a feeling of being in the presence of something that transforms your understanding of the world. And what they're realizing is that a feeling of awe regulates your nervous system, regulates your digestion, and deactivates the default mode network. Remember, we studied the default mode network, and that is our self-consciousness, how we perceive ourselves. And usually there's some negativity in there. So the default mode network makes us anxious and depressed. And awe, when we're in something bigger, when we're in nature, when we witness an act of kindness, all of that goes away. And we kind of reset our whole nervous system. And that's something that we can do. For me, Laura, you've been with me where we walk and I'm like blown away by the light. Like Colorado has the best light. It's just beautiful. Or, whatever it is that floats your boat. And we can, besides working with meditation to have that background, we can also jumpstart our joy by looking for things that, bring us comfort or that inspire us, or read about people. So I thought I would open the floor a little bit because these are just things I do, but we learn from each other, and I wanted to ask what other people do to bring in joy and jumpstart their feelings of well-being. Anybody want to share?
I'll share. This is Nancy. Well, thank you, Jane. That was beautiful. It's really interesting to do that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with the wind going 40 miles an hour outside and realize that I can separate myself because my body was literally shaking when we started. And by the time it was done, I was actually relaxed, I did feel myself come down. Um, well, a couple of things. I love to dance. I love to dance with you. Um, I that really gets me out of my head and puts me in my body. But I think ultimately, when I'm scared or when I'm anxious or when I'm depressed, I cook and I get in the kitchen and I just start chopping and I create something. And then the thing that gives me the awe is if I give it to somebody. It's so
Mm.
weird, but I just get it brings my nervous system and puts me back in check. And then nature and all kinds of other beautiful things. And I didn't do that till I was 30. I mean, that's a later life thing. I didn't cook a thing. So it's an interesting way to bring myself into that awe. Thanks for making me figure that out.
That's wonderful. I mean, to me, the last thing that relaxes me and brings me joy is to cook. Um, but I always think of you, how you talk about, you know, giving people food and what joy that gives you and gives the other people. And what a wonderful service. Well, it really is. It's just a, wonderful neighborly thing to do. I'm so glad that one, I've got to taste your wonderful food, but two, that people do that. It's a great tradition. Anybody else?
I can share. This is Katya. Thank you so much for the meditation. I actually realized something important during the meditation because I'm so used to processing, going into my body and processing, that when you said to just be there, that's the thing I actually needed to learn to do. Not to search to process something and fix something, but
Uh-huh.
actually rest. And that was kind of uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that was also joyful as well. Once I kind of settled in, got through all the jitters of the discomfort, it did get really joyful. And then I realized that that's what I usually do, is to go into my body when I feel stressed out, to find some peace. But then this took it to another level. So it's not just to process and to fix something, but to actually learn to be there in that joy.
Yeah. Oh, that's
That was
beautiful.
super important.
Oh, great. Yay. I love that. I mean, we're such a culture of doing. And studying psychotherapy, a lot of it is just fixing and doing and moving and looking and analyzing. And then it's like, can you just be?
Yeah. New learning curve for me to just be.
Yes, exactly. Ah, anyone else? And I'll bring in a few things before we go into a second meditation. So, guess what the opposite of awe would be? Anybody have an idea?
Disgust.
No, first three letters are the same. We're in a Jeopardy game here. No, I like that though. Disgust would be. Now, this is kind of like the most common thing that keeps you from experiencing awe.
Disappointment.
No?
Distraction.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ooh.
Distraction. So, in order to feel awe, we have to have a certain level of focus and mindfulness, which brings us again to why meditation fits into all of this so well. Because meditation teaches us to be mindful, to be in the moment, to focus, and to let go of the other 10,000 things that could be calling your attention. And it also engenders interest and curiosity. And those are also cousins of happiness, cousins of joy. When we're interested in something, we're engaged. When we're curious, we're engaged. There's a joyfulness or a buzz or an energy that goes with it. So yes. And, it's so easy to be distracted. So easy to be distracted. And that brings us back again to a big element of meditation, which is breathing. So breathing, as long as we're here, we're alive, we're breathing. So we have that anchor to the present. And then we also have the pause in between the inhale and the exhale, in between the exhale and the inhale, where it's empty. So we have an anchor and we have an emptiness to remind us to go beneath thought to just the nothingness, the openness, the emptiness, and let ourselves hang there. I'm also looking at certain things that are good for the brain. When we want to shape our brain, we're essentially using our mind. So mind is more than the brain. Mind extends to consciousness beyond our bodies. But one easy way to shape our brain and mind is to marinate in a good feeling. So say you notice you're in nature and you're just taken by a cloud. Press the pause button and let yourself hang out there at least 30 seconds so it goes from short-term memory to long-term. So it's just kind of, I call it brain hygiene, of learning how to make the most of our brains and to train them. So by meditating, we're training them to not do, but to be and to rest. And then when we do have those moments, we press the pause button. We give it a chance to filter down. We repeat it. So those are little things that you can do. And other, I'll call them again, cousins of joy are, for example, bliss. And so bliss, I would call a feeling of happiness and comfort and lightness in both body and mind. I mean, I think of bliss as, kind of like Sufi dancing and, people talking, Hindus use the word bliss a lot. But I think of bliss as, for example, again, dancing. For Nancy, maybe it's cooking. I can actually get a little blissed out cleaning sometimes, believe it or not, because it's instant gratification. And so very few things I do in my life are instant gratification. So just those little things that you do that you go, okay, that was cool. Can I just hang out there for a moment? And the other big buzzkill for joy is judgment. And that one is so hard because there's so much judgment and we're taught to judge. We're judged as children. We're judged with our grades. We're judged with how we look. And so learning how to change your brain on that one is a really important one, because when we can release judgment, we literally kind of change the social circuit in our brain to be more kind toward ourselves and others. That's huge. We build a circuit of kindness and well-being, moment to moment, person to person. That's a big one. One of the best practices I think that I've known for judgment is just to use the Vipassana labeling. When a judgment comes up, just say judgment. And so that you're aware you're judging. And, to really start working with how your self-talk is, because it all starts with self-talk. I talk to myself all the time. I don't know if other people do, but I do constantly, both out loud and internally. I've tried to reframe how I talk to myself. I use terms of endearment. I just don't let myself be mean anymore. I did that for years, and it just changes your vibration. And if you talk that way to yourself, you're going to talk that way to others or think that way about them. So judgment, distraction, trying to think of any other ones. Can anybody else think of anything that just is a buzzkill for joy?
The need to control.
Oh boy, that's a big one, isn't it? The need to control. That's really true. And what do people do to help correct that need to control? What have you guys found helpful?
I find that that to counteract it, it's self-talk, like you were talking about. It's just about me reassuring me that I can trust the people around me, the circumstances of my life, my own wisdom, whatever I can trust. That's where I think the root of what I have to do is when I get there, because I go there sometimes.
Yeah, I think that word trust really stood out for me, of trusting that you have what you need, trusting that things are okay. You have this basic okayness pilot light that's there all the time. Trusting that you can't control.
Right.
My friend Cindy always refers to the illusion of control. And it really is an illusion, isn't it? But yet we all like to elude ourselves, delude ourselves. Yeah, control is a big one. Yeah. Another one I thought of was fear. What makes fear kind of go rampant is usually the mind. It's like throwing wood on the fire of fear when we keep adding thoughts. Stacking is what I call it. And this, and this, and this, Yeah. And as we talk about this, you can see why meditation is so key. Because when we meditate, we rewire our brains, rewire ourselves to not go into unconscious habits. But we come back to that present moment where there is an openness of possibility. Instead of like just going on autopilot and doing what we think will bring us joy. Oh, I'll have a piece of chocolate. Oh, I'll have another piece of chocolate. And repeating those, it's like, can you just go to where you are now? Can we just open to that peace and contentment and be with that and see what comes of that? I notice that if I have a lot of things to do, I do better if I just have that kind of flow going in the background, do one thing, and then do another. And sometimes when I'm cleaning again, I'll clean one room, and then I'll go to a different room, and then I'll go, and if anybody's watching me, they think, she's like all over the place. But I'm in flow, and I'm not stuck on having to do it a certain way, and that makes it more interesting for me. So getting to that moment of now, dropping in, and then having that okayness be right there to guide you, right there. And that's the thing that kind of blows my mind, that it's always there. Always. Nancy,
Wow.
I see you pondering.
That just is so profound, because I think what I just grasped was that if I'm feeling anxious or sad or depressed or afraid or trying to control things I shouldn't be controlling, rather than trying to bring myself back to status quo of the contentment and going to my safe place, I'll stay in the anxiety, but then I'll try to eat it away or drink it away or, walk it away or exercise it. And that doesn't work.
No.
Just wears you out,
Yeah.
So to forget about trying to treat that, the only way you can treat it is with your nervous system going back down.
Yep.
If that makes any sense. I don't know.
No, that was eloquent. People get that? Yeah. I mean, think of all the compulsions we have where we're just trying to manage things. Whether it's eating, walking, exercising, drinking, reading, whatever it is. We engage in those compulsions thinking, well, that worked before, but it keeps us on the wheel, like little gerbils. Yeah. And it takes a certain presence of mind to drop down. And it's the absolute opposite of how we are conditioned in this world to do, fix, control, get better. So it's very contrary to how we're conditioned. So no wonder it's not as easy. It is our natural mind, but it isn't a natural response. So what we're doing, and every time we sit and drop in, whether it's mindfulness, just a moment, or meditating, we're reinforcing it. We're reinforcing and getting that muscle strong and recognizing, wow, I don't have to do all this crap that I think I need to do to feel good. Yeah. Any other thoughts, feelings, ahas before we do another meditation? All right. Let's drop in. So if you want to get comfortable once again, where your back supported, and bringing your attention in, you might want to mute yourselves. And bringing yourself to that place of okayness, that place of peace and contentment, your inner pilot light. And feel yourself breathing and noticing the space between your breaths. Being aware of the thoughts and feelings arising. And imagine that you have a dial. And you could just dial those thoughts and feelings down, slowing them down. And bringing the moving mind into stillness, inviting it, not forcing it, but just inviting it. Would it like to take a break and rest in stillness? not having to do anything. And the resting mind is like when you pour yourself a glass of water and it has all those little dots in there floating around, the little sediment, and then it starts to settle. And the glass of water becomes clear. And there's a stillness. And the funny thing is, even within stillness, there's movement. Your breath is still breathing you. Your body functions are still doing their thing. But they're coming from a place of stillness. They get to rest. And again, notice what it's like for you to rest. What comes up? And I invite you to drop down a layer deeper into even a deeper rest. More still. And then I invite you to breathe in some spaciousness into that area, that place in you where your pilot light is. Breathe in molecules of empty, open space. You might even feel yourself breathe a little deeper. Everything's got a little more room, a little more space within you. Nothing's pushing in on you. You're wide open. Empty. And this emptiness is not a void, a lack of, but rather it's a potent energy where anything's possible. Recognizing how within the mind, within life, everything is always changing. Nothing stays the same. And yet, when we're open and at peace, we have the ability to adapt. We're so adaptable. And we can trust that we don't need to control, we don't need to fix. Can we just rest and trust our innate wisdom to arise when we need it? Can we feel our nervous system in a gentle flow? Our body, mind in balance. And the strength of being open, aware, right here, right now. Knowing that our true nature is directly experienced by simply allowing the mind to be exactly as it is. Can you just let your mind be exactly as it is? Can you trust that you have everything you need within you? That your consciousness is wise, knowing, compassionate, and clear. You can trust it. What if you stop trying to stop whatever's going on in your mind and just be aware of it without judgment, without control, just coming back home to your true nature, to your awareness, your essence of being. And eventually, if you don't try to stop things, if you trust your mind, you'll eventually feel it as if this sense of relaxation and openness is natural. You will know it is your essence of being, your true nature. And the more you do this, the more you meet any situation that's scary or painful or sad, and you just meet it with this wise and knowing awareness, you will become more and more confident. Not in a puffed up way, but in a natural, grounded, trusting life way. You will realize that you're always sheltered, always safe, always home. And if you can bring your awareness to your heart and breathing to and from your heart, as if there were a nose and mouth on your chest and you could breathe right through your heart. And sensing into that pilot light that you can trust, that's always there. Conditions may change, but this never changes. Your awareness is always there for you. Your natural mind. And when you're ready, you can start to stretch, wiggle around, opening your eyes, taking your time. If anybody would like to share, the floor is open, or you can rest in whatever you're experiencing.
Thank you, Jane, so
You're-
much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
I wanted to comment about when you prompted us to just smile a little bit. I think it was the previous meditation,
Yep.
and just how profound just the shift in the body, sense of joy, when it was just kind of amazing. Just a
I know.
little smile.
I know. I learned that from Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's like such a simple thing, but it changes the physiology in the brain. And it's just like this cascade of joy. I think that came before fake it before you make it. I remember when I kind of first discovered these practices in a visceral way, I began to sleep better. And it was this way in which I could trust to let go. And it kind of blew my mind. I read a book and it was like, wow, changed the way I slept. And, we don't recognize this tension that we hold in both our mind and our body of having to do, control, keep things together, blah, 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 blah. And it keeps us in a perpetual state of tension, varying degrees. And just by practicing these techniques and trusting your inner pilot light, it, rewires the brain. David Brand, it looks like you're starting to say something. Nope.
No, meditations have been beautiful. The whole experience made me also think about just resting with what it is and being, but also, about choice. So I've been also listening to everyone, just thinking that, you put a smile on your face, that's a choice. Can I choose joy and happiness? So I've been thinking a lot during this hour about just about choice. maybe not from a mental standpoint, but how I can make a choice physically in my body to, let's say, feel joy. And so anyway, that came up for me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. When we can kind of pull ourselves out of our slumber of habit, all these choices are there. And it's amazing to me what creatures of habit we are and how these neural pathways just get grooved more and more and more until they become automatic. And simply by pressing the pause button, we have a choice. Just pausing the program, bringing our head up. It's like, oh, yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, for participating today. I wish you lots of joy and peace and contentment. And stay warm.
Thanks, Jane.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Have a wonderful month.
See you next month.
Yes. Have a great vacation, Suze.
Thanks, Jane.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. You're welcome. I'm just going to find my little
So
bell.
nice. Bye, Jane. Bye, Nancy.
Bye.